Alright guys, I'm back in this room packing another bowl, so bear with me, okay? I was rewatching some of the stuff to see if there's anything, because I'm a lateral thinker and I tend to go off on tangents. I mean, there's a lot of info. I could literally talk endlessly. But noble, right? I said it's like no is in like the Japanese no is in the nature of, and no also means knowledge. So it's the knowledge of or nature of swelling or expansion, right? So conservation and expansion, so godliness. Then the sun is also expansive, as is Jupiter. So the nature of the sun and Jupiter. Jupiter translating to you, Peter, our good father. So he is of the nature of our good father above. The point being, noble. Noble means no bull as well, as in like no bullshit, you know? Noble means the truth, right? And noble also means high. And the most high, the high, right, is, speaking of high, quick note, in Japanese, high means gray. High iro means gray, and iro means color, so high equals gray, and high also equals yes, which is yes, right? Yes or yes, so you're saying yes to existence, like God did, like high did, right? But it's also yes, which is dawn, and these are the people at dawn. But so noble means noble, so the truth, or that which holds water, or that which is real, or the actual. So God is that which holds water. He holds us, and then by virtue of that, we're holding him too, unless we decide we don't want to do that and we want to go away from his embrace and not embrace him at all. In which case, people can get themselves removed from the cycle. It's just most of these people want to also do that for everyone else, regardless of everyone else's say in the matter. So those people are fucked. The only ones, well, let's just say I hope they like their philosophy of anti-existence. You reap what you sow. But the point is, noble, right, is high or truthful, right? Honest, genuine, real, aka God. And then the other thing I was going to touch on is nika, right? Nika is the sign of Cancer that I was touching on. He's Jesus, the champion of truth, the warrior of liberation, the one who fights for all of our homes, which is everything. Everything is our home, so he fights for all of that, for the conservation and expansion and utilization of same versus the expenditure, contraction, consumption, and nothingness of same, right? And nika is an anagram for kani, which is crab in Japanese, right? Which the crab is the sign of Cancer, which is nika, right? And nika is niga, right? Is in nigger, right? And conquer or conser is the same, is an anagram for knocker, right? This is someone who hits, so a heater. If you're on a heater, you're doing good, you're hot, right? The heater, the generator, because fire, heat, this is the generative principle, so the heater, so God. You would also be the beater, right? The beater. So beater is fiter, is vater, right? That's God. And then beater, not as in like necessarily to strike something, but he's striking us into existence, so to speak, and he's constantly holding us, right? Sign of Cancer relates to holding on to things, the crab's claws, right? He's holding us and we're holding him, right? And conquer is knocker or nigger, right? Nigger, maker. And this is nika. And coincidentally, well, like in One Piece he's all in white, but Zelazny touches on this. The man in the sign of Cancer is known for this color too, is known for wearing the color black. Hence the disconnect with people buying into the illusion of nigger meaning black. No, nigger is white. Nigger is the white guy who dresses in black. He's the champion of God and the sun and the moon and all the heavenly bodies and everything. He's the one who fights for the conservation and expansion and utilization of same. And then more evidence for this, I don't know if anyone else has noticed this with reference to the moon. I haven't heard anyone else say this. But the moon, right? People are all fucked up about the moon because the whole globalist, retarded, this is all an accident perspective doesn't make any sense. There's a lot of shit that doesn't make sense with the moon, including the whole waxing waning. Like, does anyone really know the reason behind that? Well, hear me out. Here's something I observed. Here's something that clicked for me one day. The moon is essentially in a constant dance with the black sun. That's why you get the new moon, full moon cycles. They're in a constant dance. It's almost like the black sun is covering and then uncovering the lens through which we see the moon. And they're in this constant dance. You're not seeing, oh, part of the back side of the moon while it's rotating, and then that's why you get the shapes. No, no, no. There's the moon, which is white and gray, but sometimes looks black. Why? Because the black sun is sliding in place over it, and then over and over, right? They're in this constant dance of them sliding whoop, whoop, over the lens that is the moon in a sense. Which makes sense because the black sun relates to Saturn and to the sun, because the black sun theoretically is providing the energy to the sun. The black sun, or the green ray, or the gray, right, is providing energy to the sun. Right, so the black sun is actually a benefactor of the sun, not an enemy of the sun. The anti-existence people, like the so-called Pope and the Nazis and the so-called Jews, these people worship the enemy of the sun and of God. That is not the black sun. The black sun is a benefactor of sin made by our Father. Where was I going with that? Oh yes, the relationship between the black sun and Saturn and the sign of Cancer. So Saturn is the father, that relates to the sign of Cancer. Cancer is also cancel, and like I said, the sign of Cancer is the cleaner up or the genocider. This relates to Saturn, the Reaper, right? The Reaper. And Reaper, right? Reaper means to seize. Repere, or repere, means to seize. That's why when you hear, like, in myth, the rape of Ganymede doesn't mean that Zeus fucked this kid in the ass. It means that Zeus took him away. He seized him. Right? He seized or grabbed or held him, like how God is holding us. God is the seizer. He's seizing all of us in himself, and we're seizing him in ourselves. If we're in line with existence and the principles of conservation and expansion, like our Father is. So he's the seizer, right? He seizes. And that Saturn, the restrictor, the seizer, the grabber, the reaper, right? He relates to the sign of Cancer. Sign of Cancer also relates to, like, growth, decay, expansion, and culling, right? So again, Saturn. And, Cancer also relates to kings and rulership, which again relates to Saturn, right? Saturn, God made Saturn our Lord, right? And I think that was about it. There was some other stuff I was going to go off on at points in this conversation, but I mainly wanted to talk about, I forget what I talked about at the start, but that, and then the whole Cancer equals knacker equals nigger. And then I thought about right now, like, it just occurred for me, the knocker, so the hitter, the whole, oh my god, dude. Fucking Breaking Bad, I am the one who knocks. It's like him saying he is God. He's saying he is the death at the door, so he is Scorpio, right? And Scorpio's death or deus, so that's that guy saying he is God. I'm telling you, they bake this into everything. I haven't seen Breaking Bad in forever. I should probably do a breakdown on that astrologically, though. Because they're definitely all caricatures, once again. Let me just look at the name. Walter White. Well, you have white like the sun, right? Or wide like expansive. And then Walter is cognate with Falter or Vater, right? So the white Vater, so he is the sun. In particular, I would say he is representative of the sun in it might actually be Jupiter in Cancer in the 10th house, with Cancer ruling the 11th house. Because Cancer ruling the 11th house would be like authority over chemistry, essentially. And then that would make yeah, because Jesse is going to be the sun. Jesse Pinkman is definitely going to be the sun in Aquarius in the 5th house. It's like, yeah, science. He's very Aquarian, and he's very Sun in Aquarius, especially Sun in Aquarius in the 5th house, conjunct Uranus in the 5th house in Aquarius. That is literally Jesse Pinkman to a T. And then, so that would make Walter. Alright, yeah, so Walter means essentially wolf sun. So he's Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, with Cancer ruling the 11th house, but he's Jupiter in Cancer in the 10th house. Which makes sense because that would be the 10th house is the highest point in the chart, right? And he's the star of the show, he's the main guy in the show. Alright, I changed my mind. Walter is actually Saturn in Gemini in the 9th house, with Gemini ruling the 10th. Because he's a chemistry teacher. That's Saturn is teacher, Gemini rules, like changing in systems, in that sense, changing systems, like the minutiae of systems. So the whole system of chemistry would be ruled by, as it in the system sense would be ruled by Sag, but the actual chemical changes within said system would be ruled by Gemini. So Walter White is the White Father, aka Saturn, the white or gray father, right? He's Saturn in Gemini in the 9th house, with Saturn ruling, with Gemini ruling the 10th house. And then not only this, but this is in opposition to what? Pluto in Sagittarius in the 3rd house, right? The 3rd house rules the lungs, Pluto rules death, Walter's dying from lung cancer. And that's what causes him to go to this foreign land, in a sense, of changing who he is and what he's about, which is Sagittarius systems. He changes his system that he's working in, essentially. Because, why? Because he's dying of lung cancer. Pluto in the 3rd house. So Walter is definitely Saturn in Gemini in the 9th house, with Gemini ruling the 10th. And then Jesse Pinkman is definitely still the Sun in Aquarius. And then Walt Jr. is going to be Chiron, right? Because Chiron is a wounded healer. And Chiron is the son of Saturn, right? So Walt Jr., the cripple, is their caricature, I'm going to say. All this stuff is caricatures. Walter is not actually Saturn. He's these people's caricature of Saturn in Gemini in the 9th house, with Gemini ruling the 10th. And then Walt Jr. is their caricature of Chiron in the 4th house, with Capricorn ruling the 5th house. And then Junior's in opposition to Hank, who is Jupiter in the sign of Cancer. Because Hank, yank, to grab, right? Like the crab, Cancer. And then also Han or Yan is 4, plus K means like house or nature of, so the house or nature of 4, which is Cancer. And then that also rules with authority. And then 11th house is like collectives or groups, right? The collective or the group. So he's part of the DEA, so the authority or group that is opposed to Walt, that is out to get Walt Sr. Yeah. He's a figure of authority in the organization. So figure of authority, Cancer. Organization, especially Jupiter retrograde in Cancer, but then organization, 11th house, which is being ruled by Cancer in this scenario. And then the context of the show, it's the organization that's trying to do something about the main theme of the show, which is the drugs. So, DEA agent. And then, Skylar is... Sky, or ski, means like nature, family of, and then Lear means the sea, so the nature of the sea. And she represents, or rather, she's a caricature of the moon conjunct Black Moon Lilith in Pisces, 7th house, because she's his wife, right? That's 7th house marriage partnerships, and there's evolving partnership over the show. But she's also sort of a Black Lilith character. She has the affair, and she's looked down on a lot. And then there's also a scene where she goes into the pool and tries to commit suicide. That's very Lilith too. And then the moon, so she's his wife, and they have this emotional relationship. Yeah. Okay, wow. So Breaking Bad 100% is literally just astrological caricatures, just like pretty much every other piece of media. That's just boom. Like, I haven't seen that show in years, and that was just breaking it down in a couple minutes. Like, I'm telling you, if you guys study this shit, that this goes through everything, and anything that blows up especially, even lots of shit that doesn't, but anything that blows up especially, whether it be in America, other places, it's even extends to anime and manga, it all relates to astrological caricatures. Now, some of these people are doing it for good. I would reckon that the people who are doing that are more doing it for viewership purposes, because they know this is the kind of shit that gets views. They probably have their own political agenda. If they're working with Hollywood and all these people, they're probably anti-nika and anti-existence, even if the people who are executing this stuff don't know it. Maybe they're just making art as far as they're concerned, but they're getting some sort of directives or nudges from higher on the food chain that comes down the food chain to them as they make this shit. For sure. Because as much as the nature of reality is that this is going to weave itself into everything, the manner in which a lot of these astrological caricatures appear seems indicative of people who are trying to make fun of Sam and want the anti-existence outcome, which will never happen. But yeah, to digress, anyone wants me to talk about any specific series, if I've seen it, I'll contemplate on it and talk about it, and then if I haven't seen it, I'll probably look into it and talk about it. But this is literally everything, books, movies, manga, TV, anime, stories in general, everything around you pretty much too, just by nature, but all that stuff specifically and also partly by nature. So if anyone wants to talk about that, let me know. God, I finished packing that bowl a while ago. Either way, God bless you guys. Side note, MD never dies. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know how happy any of those guys are to all this shit, but there's definitely astrological shit as far as MDE and Fish Tank go too. I only found this shit recently with season 3 of Fish Tank, but every cast of Fish Tank ended up taking on the characteristics of the various astrological signs, and the shit played out accordingly, so it's pretty interesting. It'd be interesting to see how the actual astrological charts of the people in Fish Tank correlate to that stuff, and then, yeah, I don't know. Maybe the MDE's guys' charts, especially Sam, since he hosts Fish Tank, I guess, could probably hold some insights, I don't know. I like looking at people's charts, but it also feels kind of like an invasion of privacy to a degree, because I got it didn't sound weird, unsubstantiated, but maybe the stuff I'm talking about, you guys will believe me. I've always been vaguely psychic, so to speak, insofar as just like intuiting a lot of stuff. So like if I look at people's charts, I'm notice and intuition shit that's most people probably wouldn't notice, and might be like over the line into invasion of privacy. So I don't know if I want to go looking at other people's charts, especially like I feel awkward even looking at charts of people that have gone on to their next reincarnations and whatnot. So people who have died and whatnot, like even then I feel a little iffy. Like, is this really cool for me to do this? Because it feels almost like an invasion of privacy with the way I'm wired. Like for instance, like sesquiquadrates or whatever are related in astrology to essentially this is like a gift from God. And I have Neptune sesquiquadrate Virgo ascendant, and Neptune relates to like psychness and whatnot. So when I saw that, I mean, even when I first saw it on the chart, I didn't connect that to Sam. I just recently did that within like a week. I'm like, oh, that probably relates to that, especially with the context of the fact that I have Moon opposed ascendant to Moon in Pisces opposed Virgo ascendant. So, yeah, no, it feels like an invasion of privacy. But those guys' charts, especially Sam's, probably relate to. You probably get insights into Fish Tank and their skits from Sam. Like it'll probably break down into astrological caricatures as well. I don't know. No, if people are interested, if people ask, I could do astrological caricature breakdowns for pretty much any piece of media. I mean, it's always going to be there. So either way, God bless you guys. Peace out. Also, if anyone wants breakdowns of their names, not as in like people's names, because I was just talking about the MD stuff, but I mean, I could do that too, but I'm saying like as in if anyone wants a breakdown of their name or even their username, philo-linguistically and phonetically, with an astrological understanding underlying it, so to speak, I'll do that. Just request in the comments. I think anything else. Oh yeah, like I said, video games. So if anyone wants me to go over video games, for instance, League of Legends is one of the biggest examples of this shit in video games. Pretty much every video game though. Since I started noticing this shit, it almost enough to drive someone crazy. The fact that this shit is literally in everything. It's like, how can it be in literally every single thing without fail? And yet it is. The astrological shit and the linguistic shit is they're intrinsically linked. The historical shit is all intrinsically linked, and it's all through everything somehow. So anyone wants anything in particular, I'll be able to talk about it. Hopefully give some good insights. Hopefully some shit you guys haven't heard of before. Although also hopefully maybe you have, maybe more people are more down this line of thought, have had more of this stuff dawn for them than I would currently wager to guess. I would guess a few people regardless. God bless you guys. I'm gonna go smoke.